Straight Line MTV is back finally with new bike day. It's been a minute because we had to scrape together some of our loonies and our toonies to finally afford the beautiful Devinci Spartan HP. Welcome back to Straight Line MTV, and it's been a minute since we got a new bike day, but finally we dusted it all off and we're back with the brand new 2022 Devinci Spartan HP. Big shout out to Gravity Coalition out in Utah. They hooked us up with this amazing bike. Go check them out. They have all sorts of awesome bikes such as Santa Cruz. They got obviously Devinci, Cannondales. Check them out for the great prices and hookups on all the stuff that you need. So a quick rundown of our 2022 Devinci Spartan HP. This is a size large and it is the GX build, and obviously as it sounds, it's got the GX drivetrain. I am super excited about bringing in another big travel bike. As you guys know, if you watch the channel, I have big lover of those big bikes. Lately we've been riding some of the shorter travel stuff, but I'm excited to bring back something with a little more beef in the back end and the front end to get me down the trails. This bike is 160 millimeters out back and 170 out front. It did tip the scales at a portly 36.3 pounds out of the box tubeless setup. Once I got my pedals on, I got my beautiful Laminex frame protection. If you guys want to get a hookup on that, check the link below for 15% off and you can get that awesome frame protection to keep your bike nice and fresh. I put the Tannis armor in the rear and the bike ready to ride as you see it sits in at 37.5 pounds. So she ain't a light girl, but that tells me that it's ready to shred on the downhill. Like I said, I've been on some shorter travel bikes lately, but I'm very excited to bring back another big travel bruiser. This Spartan is gonna hit my sweet spot of the bike that I love. I'm gonna ride it on our local trails. There's some flow, some fast berms and jumps, as well as that nasty, chunky black diamond stuff that I just really like. And this bike is really gonna help me get down the hill without getting hurt. Also, Downieville, some just world-class riding out there. It's got really nasty chunk and some really fast sections. Definitely going to test this bike's capabilities, and it always tests mine. So I'm very excited to bring this bike out there. And then, of course, North Star Bike Park. That place it's pretty world-class, I think, especially at least California class. Has just some of the nastiest, chunkiest, fun trails that I can test the capability of this high pivot bike. Similar to the Devinci Troy that I absolutely loved and drew me to the Spartan is this Spartan has a high and low position. So the wheelbase is a 1261. The head tube angle is a 64.5. And the chainstay is 430. So something that Devinci has done, and they've done on several bikes, is their chainstays grow or shorten with the size. So if you're on a medium or small, it's gonna be a 5 millimeters shorter. If you're on an extra large, it's gonna be 5 millimeters longer than our size large. And that number seems short, but being a high pivot design, that chainstay is gonna grow a little bit at sag. So I'm not worried about the length of this bike because our Troy, I believe, had a 440 millimeter chainstay, and that's a much shorter travel bike. So our Spartan HP in the GX trim comes in at just under $6,600. So what are you getting on this build? You're getting the Fox 38. It's the Performance Series fork. For the rear shock, you're getting the Fox X2. It's the Performance Elite. So you're not getting the Kashima of the factory version, but you are getting all the other turn dials that you need to get this thing set up the way you want it. For the cockpit, you are getting the handlebars are the Race Face Effects. They're 780 millimeter wide, 35 millimeter clamp diameter. The stem, once again, same as on our Troy, is the V2. Not a huge fan. It's not really pretty to look at. It does get the job done, but I think I'm gonna get something a little bit more blingy and a little bit shorter, something maybe in the 35 millimeter reach length. For the wheels, you're getting the AR30 by Raceface for the rims. And the hubs are the Factor hubs. I love those hubs on our Devinci Troy, so I think that I'm gonna be super excited to ride these again. They're not too loud, they're not too quiet, and all those like 120 plus points of engagement are great on the climbs. Then, of course, you get the GX drivetrain. Workhorse of a drivetrain, gets the job done. I don't have any issues with it. Water bottle cage, just look at it. Look at this bike is gonna hold a full-size water bottle on our size large. You're getting the SDG dropper, again, something that I I enjoyed on our Troy. The only thing I would say is keep an eye on the bottom nut, because on our Troy it unloosened over time and got a little floppy on the bottom. So other than that, I had a great time on that dropper, no problem. And being a big bike, something that we rely on that sometimes we don't think too much about is the brakes. So this bike comes with the SRAM Code Rs, have the same brakes on the Devinci Troy. They have plenty of power. They're just, the lever throws a little bit longer than I like. They get the job done, but I do appreciate something on like the RSCs with that bearing link on the lever, give it a little better feel. Again, not knocking the Code Rs, but they do feel a little bit less refined. You do get 200mm rotors front and rear, which you're gonna appreciate on the downhills. Another thing that Devinci did that some other brands aren't doing is putting double down casing tires both front and rear. So Devinci definitely understands its customer and who's gonna be riding this bike. It's gonna be somebody smashing hard, going through some nasty stuff, and those double down casings, yes, they do contribute to that heavier weight of this bike, but it's gonna save you and give you more peace of mind on the downhills because you are getting those extra thick casings. They're both 3C front and rear, so just a bike. I really feel like this build kit, it gets you ready to go ride. It doesn't really feel me wanting for anything else aside from obviously preferences for grips or maybe a saddle, changing those things out to something that we more used to or like a little bit better. It looks like Devinci has really got it down how they are presenting these carbon frames. Similar to the Troy that I just reviewed, they just did a beautiful job on just the little things that maybe sometimes we take for granted, such as the cable routing. It's not just a hole with a little rubber grommet or a weird plastic thing. It's molded, it looks sleek, it looks beautiful, especially with this new pivot design. There's where the cables come out and go back in. It just looks well thought out and refined. The down tube protection is great. Rubber, it just molded, it looks great. Also the chain stay protection where the chain slaps, being a high pivot design, that chain rides real close to that seat stay. So again, very similar to our Troy, beautiful, some of the best frame protection molded that I've seen on any bike. One thing I'm gonna give Devinci a little bit of hard time about, I did with the Troy, is that there's no bash guard on this bike. This bike is made for smashing and getting nasty and rowdy. I'll give you an extra 20 bucks, 40 bucks, 50 bucks. Throw me a bash guard on there so we could just get riding. But I'm gonna throw our favorite fun Zippa Light bash guard on here to complement the idler pulley and the chain tensioner, and then we're gonna get rowdy and nasty. Thank you for joining me as I talk about our new bike, the Devinci Spartan. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok on straightline_MTB, where you can see what we're doing on the daily and get some more information sooner than our next video may pop up. I'm also gonna work on some more content on this bike, share with you my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions. If you have any questions, comment down below. I try to be as quick as possible to get back to you and give you some feedback. But again, like I said, I'm super excited to get this bike out and see if I can stay on two wheels, because I know it's gonna make me wanna go super fast and it's probably gonna scare me a little bit. Again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next video.